This is Jeff Chrisman, and I'm on the Living Arts of Tulsa podcast. And I'm very glad today to have the opportunity to be visiting with Matt Smith. Matt, thanks so much for taking the time with me today. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for getting me on, Jeff. This is good.
Absolutely. Well, what I thought I would do is start out just talking about your artwork in general. I thought I would ask you, and of course, definitely would like to get more specific with you, but just to hear a little bit that you might be able to share as far as what your work means to you at a deeper level, and just anything about your artistic perspective that you might want to share.
Okay. I guess that probably the easiest way to kind of explain kind of what I do. I consider myself a regionalist, and I've got a book that kind of explains what maybe that means. Regionalist, according to them, it's a popular school of American painting based on realistic depiction of American land and its people. And some popular artists, it's like Thomas Hart Benton and Edward Hopper, Grant Wood. Those are the type of thing artists are known as regionalists. And I guess that's kind of where I land pretty much.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And then I was going to ask as well, just getting some sense of if you could share just a little bit about how you got started creating the works that you do, just anything you might share as far as, any influences or just anything that spurred you to start creating that way.
Okay. Well, it's kind of interesting. I really didn't intend. So I grew up in Kansas City area, and actually my family's from there. So I got to attend the museums there a lot. And they always had a big Thomas Hart Benton exhibit there. And I was always drawn to those paintings, really looked at them deeply and enjoyed those a lot. And as I started creating, I didn't even really intend to do it, but other people noticed that I was creating in the likeness of that style. And so I've just kind of run with it because it's just kind of, feels like what I need to be doing. It's what comes out of me. And so I've just kind of gone with that, and that's just kind of my earliest influences I can remember as a child.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And then just to get some sense as well of, just in terms of, I didn't know if this is something that you, I guess, getting some understanding of when you're taking time to create the work that you do, if this is something that you find I didn't know if this is something that is healing for you, or just if there's something that kind of takes you away from everyday life to a certain degree, just anything you might share, about any way in which this might be, and maybe not the word healing I shouldn't use, but just as far as anything, I don't know if there's anything therapeutic or that helps you, to be able to be in the zone, so to speak, in life.
Oh man, absolutely healing, therapeutic. It's something I wish everybody could feel. You get out there and you just get going and get lost in it and get in the zone. Sometimes I'll get done for hours of working and don't even really remember thinking about what colors or what I'm doing, just kind of, and you look at it and just kind of like, man, I wasn't even really here in a way, I like to put on some good music and just get lost in it for sure. Yeah, it's something, and once you get the feel for that, it's something you kind of keep craving. And if you have a painting encounter that's just kind of blah, you kind of feel let down that it wasn't that you weren't able to get in the zone as well. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I just didn't want to, when I said healing, I just didn't want to make any assumptions there. So that's why, but
Oh
I'm
no.
definitely glad that you shared that. And yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
not having spoken with you before, I didn't know if that was the case or not. So definitely happy to hear that. And then I was also going to ask as well, just as far as, as far as your business or your day-to-day work, if there's any sort of, feedback loop. I didn't know if there's anything in terms of when you're creating art, does it help you, see your other day-to-day work that you do in a different way, or vice versa? Just, if there's any relationship between what you're doing, for a living when you're not making art, so to speak.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess throughout the day, a lot of times I'll see something that inspires me, and I always carry around sketchbooks and sketch and stuff. And but always thinking, and I'll take like a sketchbook. I'll be sitting in a restaurant and I'll sketch while I'm there and stuff like that. And that's been really fun to do. Sometimes I'll give them to the people I've sketched, and that's been pretty cool. But yeah, and You're talking about getting in the zone. There's sometimes I'll have a bad day at work and I'll come home and I'll think, man, I'm just not gonna be able to get there, and because I'm not in the right place. But a lot of times, you know, I guess you just can't predict it. Sometimes I think I'm not going to do good tonight, and that's when you do the best. Sometimes it's hard to describe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I find that interesting too, because I actually have noticed that some myself in life, where if I'm thinking about something I'm going to do that I'm going to enjoy, something that's, away from work, so to speak, or even some cases about work, I may wake up in the morning and already decide that I know that I'm not going to be able to be in the zone, or somehow I've decided that. So that really is interesting to hear that from you. I don't know if it kind of works that way for you as well. Do you have some days where you wake up and maybe as far as your work, you may be feeling like you're not sure if you can get in the zone that way, and
Oh,
sometimes you
absolutely.
get
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. That's kind of neat thing about it. You never know
Yeah,
where you end up. Sure.
absolutely. And I didn't want to put you on the spot at all, and I normally try not to do this, but I've noticed in the background there, I am seeing some guitars, and I'm also
Hmm.
seeing, looks like I'm seeing some classic albums behind me.
Yeah.
So if it's okay, and of course that's something that that's definitely a thing with me. So I'm kind of going in a little bit of a different way, just because I'm wondering if there's anything you might want to share. In terms, I didn't know if you play guitar, and just anything you might share about that.
Yeah. Music's a big part of my life and my work. I put on some good music and get lost in it, and collect old records. And I used to always put on records while I was playing, but then I end up kind of a little bit distraction because you got to stop every 30 minutes and you got pain on your hands and stuff. But nowadays I'm more put on, stream music or whatever. But yeah, music's
Yeah.
a big part of all of it. A lot of creative people are musicians as well, don't you think?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at the very least, at least they're into music in some way, and intend to have that going when they're in that creative mode, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
What do you play?
Well, unfortunately, not anything at all. It's as a kid, I definitely I had this dream always. And of course, growing up in the early '70s, I always had these dreams about being able to play rock, drums, so to speak. And I took a few lessons, and I just didn't have the what's the word I'm trying to use, the discipline to really do it. I really did want to to be able to do that. I like the idea of it, but I just don't think I was necessarily willing to do the work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. So is that something you've done since you were a child, or is that something, I don't know if that's something as far as playing that you picked up later in life, or?
No, I probably got my first guitar when I was about 30 or whatever. And I just mess around, like an intermediate player, not very good, but it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say that's, yeah. It's that it just that relationship between music and and I realize it is a form of art as well, but just that relationship between music and as far as creativity,
Yeah.
creating something physical. Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
And then I was
Yeah.
also going to make sure to remember to also ask you about your work that you have in the I believe, or if you have work in the current exhibit at Living Arts, just hearing a little bit about what your involvement has been with them.
I really haven't done much with Living Arts. I participated in a drawing rally about 3 months ago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and that's the only really involvement I've had with them. But I want to do more with them for sure. And the
yeah,
drawing rally
yeah,
was really neat. They had us come in and draw as many as you could in 2 hours, and that was fun.
yeah,
I
yeah.
took a bunch of little. I like to draw cars and stuff like that. Took little Hot Wheels and little toys and drew them, and that was pretty fun.
Was there anything about having that time limit that made that a little bit different? In other words, having it being different than just being able to go at your own flow, or kind of do it at your own pace.
No, I'm pretty used to moving fast, and I've done a lot of drawing out in public anyway, so I'm used to that really. I like to set up on street corners and places and paint sometimes, and so it's pretty used to it now.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was also going to ask as well. I know, we've been, for the past, well, I guess we're coming up on a year. It's hard to believe this, just as far as this really interesting time in history that we've been going through. And so I was just wondering maybe what, it's been like for you as a human being, getting up every day, doing what you do for a living, as well as also if that's, had any effect on your artwork, or maybe if you see your creativity in a different way, you know, just based on what we've been going through here the past year.
Yeah, man. At first, it was, I'm pretty much an introvert. It was kind of nice at first to get told, stay away from everybody and hide behind a mask. But after I'm like everybody else. Pretty much, I'm about ready to be done with it all. But I think we've learned a lot through this. I think maybe we've learned to take care of each other a little better and ourselves. Hopefully,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I kind of think when we come out of this thing, I think people are gonna come out in big numbers for events, and they're gonna be nicer to each other. And I think we're gonna. I think we've learned something from this personally.
Oh,
Hopefully,
I definitely agree with you. Yeah, it's I know it's been it's definitely been a real mixed bag, but I definitely think that yeah, I love what you're saying. Is I certainly do feel the same way that I've certainly learned some lessons and really learned to not take other people and opportunities to gather with people for granted. You know, and
yeah,
not necessarily that I was completely taking it for granted, but I really do feel like I see that in a different way. So
yeah. I think
it's
we're all
definitely
gonna.
good to hear that this is has been a as far as at least a change in perspective or maybe appreciating some things that maybe we just took for granted as normal in the past.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think
Yeah. And then as
hopefully
far
that.
as just getting your thoughts on as far as the Tulsa art scene in general, I didn't know if as far as if there are any favorite places or if you enjoy, you know, before everything was the way that it's been for the past year, just getting a sense of maybe what you liked about the Tulsa art scene or what you do like about it, and hope to be able to see more of, you know, and when things get back to normal.
Okay. Oh, Tulsa, I think, has really done a good job with promoting the arts. It's a lot going on. I participated in Mayfest last time we had it, not last year, but and like doing the events like that. It's really been fun. And yeah, Tulsa's a great art town. A lot of good
Yeah.
stuff going on.
Yeah, it'll definitely be good to see things get back to normal. That's for certain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Yeah, and I didn't know also if there's anything else that you might want to share just as we're coming to a conclusion. Anything, you know, just any thoughts that you might have or anything that I forgot to ask about that you wanted to share as well.
Hmm. I I guess I guess not. I can't think of anything.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Well, I'll tell you what, I definitely really enjoyed having the opportunity to meet you and get to know you a little bit and understand, you know, what you know why our you know your artwork is important to you, and really appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. It was great meeting you. Thank you.
Okay, stay warm out there.
You too. Thanks.